Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. We are very pleased to have you join us for this session on the transformative role of digital platforms in English language teaching. And thank you for taking the time to be with us today. Before we begin, I would like to kindly remind you that we encourage your active participation throughout the session. So please feel free to comment or ask questions using the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and ask your questions. And also, you can reflect on ideas during the presentation. And at the end of the webinar, we'll have a short Q&A session. So now it's my pleasure to introduce today's guest speaker, Ms. Valida Salamova from Khazar University, who will guide us through practical insights and strategies on using digital platforms in English language teaching. So the floor is yours, Ms. Valida.
Thanks a lot, Ms. Shalala, for having me today, and I'm very happy to hold today's webinar and share my experience with you, with all the participants. And I feel so excited to introduce the tools I will mention today, and I hope they will all be useful for you during your teaching process. So welcome everyone. I hope today you are all doing very well. Although the weather is heavily rainy, we are at home, and I hope that we'll enjoy the online webinar and you will take all the benefits possibly. So I'm sharing my screen now. Okay, I think it's visible to all. So today's topic is transformative role of digital platforms in English language teaching. As we are living in technology world, we should be able to use digital platforms as a teacher in our classes, and doesn't matter it's online or offline. If we are using these platforms and different kinds of tools, we make the learning process more engaging and active for learners, and also effective for learners. So who I am, actually, Miss Shalala already introduced me shortly, but I want to give you brief information about myself. I am Valida Salamova. I've been teaching English for almost 7 years in different places. I've graduated from Azerbaijan University of Languages, my bachelor degree, and I've done my master's at Eötvös Loránd University in Budapest, Hungary. So I have taught both local and international students so far. And while I'm teaching, I especially pay attention to using always innovative ways, methods, and techniques, which I find pretty useful. And I hope today, like, you will also have the same impression as me that they are very useful and apply them. Also, I would be happy if you share with me at the end of webinar your impressions and your insights. At the same time, your own techniques or methods you are already using. Maybe they will be different from my mentionings. So I would be very happy if you introduce them as well. So what we will talk about today, first of all, we'll get a short introduction to what's innovative learning, then a background of the topic and the role of digital platforms, and I will be sharing with you 10 the most useful digital platforms and their benefits, the challenges, and in the end, we will have a discussion and reflection part. Please feel free to ask me your questions during the session. You can ask them in chat, or I will share in the end with you a link which will help you to tell your comments. But before we delve into the topic, I want to ask how you are. So just a second. So your well-being is pretty important to me. please scan this QR code and yes, scan this QR code and tell me how you feel today. So if you can't scan the QR, you can go to this website and enter the code there. Oh, great. Let me see how you feel generally. Positive feelings. Nice to see it. And I think it's because of our webinar. You share the same feelings as me. You're happy. And I'm happy to see how passionate you are and you set aside your time to join on Sunday to develop yourself. I really appreciate your time. So right now you are happy, and I hope at the end of our webinar you will be over the moon. All right. Now let's go on with our presentation. Okay. First of all, I want to talk about why we need to use digital platforms or tools. So why it's so important. First of all, it's part of innovative learning. And what is innovative? What does innovate mean? If we look at the origin of this word, we see that it comes from the Latin language, and it meant introducing something as new. So it was a past participle form of innovare, which means renew something, restore something, or change something. So when we are using technological tools, we are changing something, introducing something as new in our learning. So that's why it's a part of innovative learning. And we always try to focus on new ways which encourage the creativity, flexibility, and active participation of students in comparison to traditional learning. And learners become more motivated and stimulated to share their experience and to apply what they have learned. So I see it from my experience that when we are teaching with textbooks or the old traditional learning and teaching methods, our teaching process is still staying teacher-centered. However, if we are trying to use the platforms, the tools, and equipments properly, our learning approach becomes more learner-centered. And which means that learners here take an active role in their learning process and they feel more valued when they are taking this role. And learning activities are adjusted to individual needs and interests. As we get to know the students, we feel what they are interested in, what they are passionate about, and how is their learning style. And this approach helps us improve motivation and understanding of the students. At the same time, it makes an emotional bond between us and the students. because teaching process is not just giving knowledge and education. At the same time, it's transferring emotions. So we are not just teaching something educational, but we are also transforming our emotions and feelings to students. And in this case, the teaching learning process becomes more effective and stronger. And technology transported learning is important because digital tools support learning anytime and anywhere, and learning materials are easier to access and update, and technology helps make learning more interactive and flexible. So as a teacher, as a mentor or facilitator, it's also practical and handy for you to use these materials because you can access them anytime you want, anywhere you want. Of course, first of all, you should have these facilities at your institution, and then you can all access these tools. And when it comes to benefits of learning with digital platforms, we can again mention that they make learning more engaging, and they encourage creative thinking, and they help learners understand better the materials, and it supports flexible learning. So let's delve into the topic now. The first platform today I want to mention is Mentimeter. So Mentimeter is one of the platforms which I used a lot during my education at Eötvös Loránd University, like in Hungary. Well, most of the teachers, most of the professors were using this platform there to get our opinions about the subject or different types of lessons or topics. And now I will also share my screen with you how to use Mentimeter, but you can scan this QR also to log in or sign up if you don't have an account yet. Or if you are already using, maybe you can share your experience with us in chat. So why I love Mentimeter? First of all, here students or participants can answer questions, quizzes, polls, word clouds, and teachers, like as a teacher, as a presenter, we can immediately see the participants' response, opinion, and their understanding level. And it has a simple interface, which is easy to use, also appealing with different visual polls or presentations. Yes, I have tried this in my teaching experience. That's a good question. And I will share with you now one part of my experience. So if you see here, it's one of the lessons I had with my student. Our topic was about healthy life. And I asked my students to make a word cloud. And how to make the word cloud? They just write the words that come to their mind about the topic of health. And as you see, they have written here many words such as vegetables, sleeping time, sport, laugh, water, walking. Most of the time they refer to sleep, water, and that's why these words look bigger. And the other ones, health, no smoking, motivation, etc. And while I was using this in my teaching, I observed that students are very passionate to share their opinions because others can see their ideas as well. And they're in kind of competition because they feel that, oh, I wrote this word and it's a high level word. Maybe my other classmates don't know it, and teacher will see it and will say, wow, good job, you have written this word. But when we are doing it orally, just orally, and they are saying some opinions out loud, it's also effective, but I wouldn't say it's as effective as the visual, because when they are sharing, sometimes they feel anxious or they don't want to say it first, or they are shy to express their idea. But when they are doing it in a written form, after like they have time to think and to write, and then they feel much confident to share it orally as well. And the popular features in this website are word cloud, as I showed you. We have poll where you can make questions and students answer them quickly in a fast way. There are open-ended question types, scales, ranking, and pin on image. Another thing which I used in Menti was the question part, open-ended question. You can see here that I ask my students at the end of class that what have you learned today as a reflection part of the lesson. And they mentioned what they have learned in a short paragraph. And I would say why it is effective, because students here are able to remember and share what they have learned. And it's also more meaningful it makes the learning process more meaningful for the students, because they come to realize that, oh, okay, I learned this today, I learned that today. Wow, I also learned this. And because so far until that time, maybe they even forgot about what they have learned, or they haven't realized that they have learned really so many things during the learning process. But it helps them remember and brainstorm their ideas about their outcomes, and inputs and outputs. This is another part from my class that I made a vocabulary quiz for the students, where I was trying to understand how they learned the vocabulary of the lesson. So I asked them questions and gave them definitions, where they had to pick the correct one, and then in the end we would see the rating of this quiz. And I was able to somehow grade them, assess them, and give them a general feedback about their learning process. And I would love to show you Menti here. So first of all, you need to have an account here. It's completely free, but of course there are some premium features which you can benefit. So how you can do it? You just need to write here, yes, what you would like to create. For example, today you would like to create a word cloud. Yes, and we can try it now. So I'm making a word cloud. By the way, it's one of my favorite activities, to be honest with you. I enjoy making it. Especially you can also do it while you are doing an essay with students. Before writing an essay, you can ask your students, so what do you know about this topic? And your students can share their ideas in the word cloud before starting to write the essay. Because sometimes they love to write, or they want to write, but they don't know how to start, what to write first. And maybe it would help them to have the first idea to start writing process. So now I will ask you a question, dear teachers and participants. My question is to you. So let's say, what does innovation mean to you? Innovation in education mean to you? All right, this is our word cloud. Let's start now to fill it. Okay. We need to go to this website, menti.com. Let's go there, menti.com. And you will use this code. Oh, yes, you have also comments in chat. I see it. If it is possible, Miss Aysel, can you write it in our word cloud, please, in a short way, just to see how it works? Very good. I see already the first word, creativeness. Nice. Oh, many words came out already. Learning through games, group work, digital tools, new methods, happiness. Making education more effective. Yes, good. Awesome. We have got already many opinions. Teamwork, group work. Yes, I totally agree with you. All right. Let's say that you have already applied this in your classroom and your students have mentioned their answers like this. And now you can see the results also here. And in this part, you are able to see how many times one word was mentioned and what's the most popular word, because sometimes students have the same idea, of course, and one word becomes the most popular one among them. So you can pick it as a keyword. New methods, for example, in our word cloud, the chief idea is new method, better learning, easy learning. Yes, class profile, understanding class profile. Apply all new approaches. Perfect. Thanks, dear participants, for sharing your ideas. And so, did you like this digital platform? You can comment or you can say out loud if you want, unmute yourself and tell me, did you like it or how would you use it? If you wanted to use it, how would you use it in your classroom? Or would you like to use it? Anyone wants to talk? Yes. Oh, great. Nice. Yeah, online classes are coming next week. You are right. You have the chance to use them. in online lessons. Perfect. So you can search more about this platform later by yourself. And everything is saved here. You can view them in recently viewed part. You see that we have already here the presentation. And you can see it also in my presentations part. You see that I have had so far 29 presentations, which I've used in my classes. For example, friendship topic, we had culture and QA part, Q&A part, then end of lesson checkout. So what we have learned today, for example, and a quiz we had, presentations. Also, dear participants, you can make presentations here in a quick way, in a fast way, because it's supported by AI. And if you just give the Menti prompts, what kind of presentation you want to make, it will make it in a fast way for you. For example, this is one of the presentations Menti made for me. It was about learning Go phrasal verbs. Of course, it's not as perfect as human makes it, but you can still use it if you have limited time or if you just want to make 5 questions in your quiz and as a warm-up exercise. Do you have any question about Menti? If you don't, we can continue. Presentation, yes. It's really nice for time saving. Okay, so if no questions, let's go on with the second platform, which I'm really into. It's called Padlet. Padlet.com, so you can again scan this QR if you want to access it. So why I love Padlet? First of all, it's one big shared space. It's very user-friendly and it has simple interface again to use. So users can add here images, audio, links, drawings, AI photos. So Padlet is one of the most amazing platforms you can use as a teacher, instructor, or a mentor, or even as a manager even. So in Padlet, we have mind mapping, making, then we have categorizing things, we have discussion part. And now I will show you how it looks like. Yes, so you should have an account first to benefit the tools here. And you can choose any type of form template before you make it. So I have chosen, for example, the mind map, which is called Sandbox, my artistic sandbox. And how you can do it in your learning process. You, for example, write here a topic, let's say virtual reality, and your students are able to write their ideas. Maybe as a group work they can do it, or as an individual student they can do it. And you can easily share it with your students. There is a QR card, or copy link. So in your online classes, you can copy link and send it to your students. And your students can join easily. Even they don't need to have an account to join, because there is an option here that you can require visitors not to log in. So if you close it, they will not have any problem to join. But if it is open, the site will require them to have an account. So you don't need them because it will take a lot of time if you ask them to have an account. So just close it and enjoy the tool. So we have here breakout rooms as well. So what's a breakout room? Breakout room is your students maybe in a group, for example, 3 students, 4 students in one group, and they can share their ideas as a group, not as an individual. I also love this feature because sometimes, especially in online classes, we try it. We want our students to do a group work, but we don't know how we can let them do it. And here they can just easily, you will make a card, for example, card 1, card 2, card 3, card 4. So how many students you have, depends on the number of students. And then you just copy link of the cards. Okay, for example, you copy card 1 link and you share it with your students. A card 2 link and you share it with your students. And here, for example, students have already done something and you want to save their work, their project. So you can do export image or export PDF and then forward it to students after the lesson, or keep it for yourself to assess their work later. So it's very handy, practical, useful, and I hope that you will find it as useful as I found. And what I like also this feature, and I also use it for my students. So, for example, you want to talk about advantages and disadvantages of online learning with your students, and your students can categorize advantages in one side and disadvantages in another part, like in category 2. So we can try it together with you now. And when you are just clicking on Make a Padlet, you will see here many types of different sandbox and brainstorming diagrams, charts, and you'll see here the examples. Look at here. It's amazing, isn't it? So, as a technology girl, I really love using this kind of visuals in my classes. And I'm very keen on, like myself, keen on technology. And I see that how students enjoy visuals in the classroom. It doesn't matter, it's an offline learning or online, they love it. So we have Venn diagram, map, even a writing process guide, which you can use in your IELTS lessons if you are an IELTS teacher. And with your kids, even with your kids students, there is a reading reflection, for example. Sometimes students find reading a little bit boring in comparison to other skills, but you can make it here visually colorful, and attract your students' attention. Yes. And what else? There is a map, opportunity making a map and timeline, table, columns, wall. So all are free to use. Only some features are premium, but very little. So that's why don't worry about it. You can freely use this. And then you can import PDF or from Google Slides after you have already made something. So do you have any question about Padlet? If you have any question or any different idea which I haven't mentioned, you can write it in chat. So will you use Padlet? What do you think about it? Or have you already used Padlet before in your teaching experience? Yes. Oh, very good. Breakout rooms, yes. Oh, great to hear. Yes, we have breakout rooms in Teams as well, but in some, for example, Google Meet, in this, we don't have it. So if you are using Google Meet in your online classes, you can use it. Yes, students feel tired, especially in exam periods. Miss Fatima asks that at which part of the lesson should we use these tools and how long should this part last? Very good question, Fatima. Thank you so much. So it's up to you, dear teachers. For example, me, I am using it in my warm-up part or at the end of lesson. Or if you are doing a group project after the warm-up, you can also use it after the warm-up as a body part, as a main part of your class. So it's completely up to your lesson plan, how you plan your class in advance. But the tools that I've mentioned are can be easily used in any part of the class. And I want to mention and highlight one more thing that in terms of collaborative learning, using Padlet is useful. Why? Because in this case, in some parts of exercises or activities, students can work together and it will make them improve their communication skills. It will enable them share their ideas in groups or individually. And then learnings, in this case, learnings will feel for them more active and engaging. So thanks for sharing your opinions with me. We are gonna continue with the third platform, which I'm using commonly in my lessons. This platform is called dailydictation.com. Again, you can scan the QR to access it. So it's one of my favorite platforms. And why? Because it improves listening skills through dictation practice. At the same time, it improves speaking skills of students. It develops spelling and pronunciation accuracy. And it provides numerous free exercises for different English levels. Now I'll show you how this website looks. So this is dailydictation.com. You don't need to have an account here. Everyone can access it easily without an account. So you go to all exercises. We have here all topics, short stories, conversations, stories for kids, IELTS listening, TOEIC listening, random videos, news, TED Talk videos, TOEFL listening, numbers, medical English, etc. So why I love this website? Because everything is in one place, and you don't waste your time to jump from one website to another website, and you can achieve access everything at the same time. And according to the students' levels, everything is provided here. I mostly use random videos. Why? Because in random videos, the levels start from B1 level, and my students are mostly B1 level. But if your students are A1 level, A2 level, you can go to conversations where you see many sections, many videos in different levels, like from A1 to A2 to B1, like until, let's say, B2 level. Or if you want to do story practice with your students, if they are kids and very young learners, you can go to short stories. So I mostly use random videos as I am working at university and my students' ages ranging from 17 and above. So they are very appropriate for my students' age and level. But as a teacher or instructor, you can decide it yourself. For example, I'll show you in my presentation how I use it and in which part of the lesson we can use it. Yes, so after I pick random videos, I do like a warm-up activity first of all as a first step. So what's warm-up and how I do it? For example, I pick a topic for today. The topic is why is the sky blue? It's B1 level listening. And before watching the video, I have a discussion with the students about what they are going to listen and the expected vocabulary as a group or an individual activity. So the last time I did it as a group activity, I divided my class into two parts. And as a group, they had to take one paper and write there the expected vocabulary. So why it was useful? First of all, the students came together and started to brainstorm their ideas and to think about the words. Of course, I don't let them use their phones in this process because, students are like they are prone to use AI a lot if they are given a chance in the lesson. But I don't want them to rely on AI a lot during the lesson process. So I ask them to put their phones aside and I control it during the process that they are really not using phones. And then ask them just to write down the words they are expecting to hear. And then I take their papers and we are starting to see have they mentioned really the keywords of the topic or not. So I give them almost 5 minutes for this step to collect the words they are gonna hear. And also what you can do, so maybe you can give them just a limit that you can write only 20 most important words, because sometimes they are trying to write everything, They ask me, teacher, can I write article? For example, can I write this number, the article, the word any, or the word some? But I just make them write only the keywords which are related to the topic, because when they are feeling that they're in a competition, they just wanna do their best to win. But here the main thing is not only winning, it's also learning. So I always remind them, guys, it's not about grading, it's not about winning. Please just focus on the keywords. And then they really start to write keywords after I remind them. And as a second step, the main step, I would say, so they watch the video without a transcript. And I let the learners hear the expected words and they try to find how many correct guesses they had. Why I'm doing it without transcript? Because when I do it with a transcript, with subtitle, they are just trying to focus on words. They don't care about what they are listening to. And again, it becomes for them kind of game, like kind of competition. And when they just see the word, they say loudly, because I also tried it once with a transcript. And I saw that it's not that much effective in terms of listening skills because they are just focusing on words, and even the listening is not coming to that part yet. They haven't heard it yet. They say, "Ah, teacher, we saw this word, we saw that word is below, that word is there, that word is here." And I stopped this process because I see that, it's more than learning already. It's kind of competing. And I did it without transcript. So without a transcript, they're focusing on keywords and they focus on hear these keywords, really hearing it, not just seeing it. So after they do it without transcript, they tell me what they have heard, and I let the groups to check each other's answers and to see how many correct guesses they had. But as a third step, what I'm doing, we are watching the video with a transcript. As you see in this screenshot, the video is going on the left side and the transcript is given on the right side, and the learners hear it and see it simultaneously. And I will not let the students listen until the end just with a transcript. I will make some pauses and then ask them, okay, until that part, until 2 minutes, for example, what have you gained? What have you got and heard? Can you just give me a summary of what you have heard? And they are telling me what they've heard, what they've learned by looking at transcript. I let them look at transcript. Why? Because I want them use the new words they've heard, use the grammar they've seen, and it's very effective way to improve listening and speaking at the same time. Also the pronunciation, because sometimes students know the words, but they don't know how they are pronounced in an authentic material, in podcasts, in listenings. So I let them see and observe how the words are really pronounced, how the connected speech is used in authentic materials. And additionally, we can do in this website a dictation practice. So yes, here you see that we have dictation and full transcript part. I already showed you full transcript, but when it comes to dictation, it's also an engaging activity for students, because we have here start dictation. Okay, and then okay, they are hearing one sentence, for example. It stops like itself, and we don't need to do anything here. That's why it's practical. So there are 101 given sentences already for dictation. But of course, we cannot do it all at the learning process in the lesson. And it would be so boring to just do dictation. How I do it? For example, again, as a warm-up, you can do, let's say, 5 sentences and give the rest to do at home, and tell your students to practice a shadowing technique on their own, and just do a few sentences in the class to show how they should do it. And they do it, then you can do it as an individual practice in your lesson process, or as a group, again, activity. So as a group, they are focusing as a group to find the sentence or the maximum possible words they hear in the sentence. But as an individual task, you can also do it. They say their options one by one, and you write it, for example, and then you have a chance to check it. So if they have guessed it correctly, you appreciate them and you say, congratulations, you found it correctly, and you give feedback kind of. But if they haven't found it fully, for example, but they have, let's say, many guesses correct and right. So you again congratulate them because it really gives them motivation to continue. And then you are giving feedback and explaining what's incorrect. For example, they couldn't guess what's, and you can explain so why it's this word, and even you can hear you have an option to translate the sentence into all languages you want. So how is it? Now let me show you. So uh, that what's the coolest thing? Yes, what's the coolest thing you've ever seen after dark? And outside. Yes, I have this. Outside after dark. Okay, for example, my guess was correct, and I get you are correct feedback, and you have here, you see the Google Translate part. So you can also edit it and make the translation, make some addition on the translation if you want, or you can choose another language. So I chose Azerbaijani language for my learners. In case they don't understand something, I just immediately show them here instead of searching it on Google or show them from a different dictionary. But of course, it's up to you to show it wherever you want. And I love this part, pronunciation. Why? Because in this part, you are able to see all words pronunciation one by one, and you can tell your student how it's pronounced, for example. So, and you have again two options, British and American. Let's see how the word cool is pronounced. Okay, then thing. Yes, and outside. Okay, so if there is a word, for example, which is new for students and they don't know how to pronounce it well, you can do this pronunciation part. And I did it and it really worked well. So I showed the student, for example, how is the word outside pronounced. I let them hear it and then they repeat it loudly. So it was really effective in terms of listening and speaking practice. So let's say that for this activity to do the all steps, it would take almost 15-20 minutes at the beginning of lesson. And it's also up to the minute of the video and how you want to manage it. I don't do it, for example, if it is too long video, I don't do it fully in the lesson. If it is 6 minutes, for example, we do just half of it. And the next lesson, we do the other half. So it also works. And do you have any question about this platform or any other?
Actually, yes, Miss Valida. We had some questions here in the chat. So one of the participants asked about the platforms that could teach our students rising and intonation, pronunciation. So,
yes, intonation, rising and falling tones.
mm.
You know, in this platform, there is a conversation part. It could be helpful in terms of intonation because in this part, they are giving us short sentences. For example, let's choose one. Two. Here you hear just a sentence, not a full video, and students can tell you what they heard, and they can do a shadowing technique after they hear it. So when they are doing shadowing technique, they are repeating what they heard, and they should try to repeat it as they heard. But I will show you one more platform further in my further slide, which also you can use for improving intonation of students, especially rising and falling tones. But this conversation part is also useful.
Yes, thank you so much. And I would like to ask you to go through those steps for this platform. The first step
Yes,
was the warm up, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
yes. In warm-up step, we had, before watching the video, we have a discussion of what the students are going to listen to. So we let the students brainstorm their ideas. Why is the sky blue? So what do they think? And after they share different types of opinions, we ask them to write down the expected vocabulary they are gonna hear about this topic. And when I did it with my students, for example, they had sky, oxygen, moon, water, ocean, like this kind of keywords. As a second step, it was watching the video, first of all, without a transcript. And we let the students hear the expected words they have written and pick which words were correct guesses. And they just calculate in the end how many correct guesses they had. But in order to make sure that really these words were used, maybe they misheard it or they confused it with another expression, we are doing step 3, where the students watch the video with a transcript and they make sure that they have really heard some of those words they have written. And we do it with pauses, short pauses, and we let the students talk about what they have heard.
And one
And
more question from our participant. Will the presentation be shared with them after the webinar?
I have made for them a handout of the presentation, and I can share the presentation itself as well after this webinar. You are very welcome. And let's continue with the fourth platform. So this is TurboScribe, which is AI tool, and it looks a bit similar to daily dictation in terms of usage. It improves listening skills through a transcript and based on students' interests. And it makes the sentence making process, pronunciation accuracy, and vocabulary building process very well. So it's practical for both teachers and learners. So now I will show you how you can use TurboScribe. You should have an account for this. And let's say that in daily dictation platform, there are videos, many videos, yes, but there are some videos you want to also show your students, but they don't exist in daily dictation. You have it on YouTube. So you are able to transcribe here any video, audio, or any MP3 song or something. So you just put here the link of this video or whatever material it is. I have already did one. So after you put the link, you just click on import and you will get this kind of video. transcript. So it's from YouTube, Real Easy English, talking about travel. For example, this podcast is good for A1, A2 students, learners. And with the same method, you can do it, like with the same steps we used in daily dictation. You can still do this TurboScribe. You can still use this TurboScribe platform. And here you see the full transcript of the video, which is good for shadowing technique. And you can here choose any speed you want. Maybe if your student's level is too low or they are just in elementary beginner level, you can decrease the speed a little bit. And then if you want to do it faster, you can organize it here. Then you start the video. Now I'll just show you a short part. Okay, so far they're just introducing themselves. Now I want to just come back to main part of the video. All right. For example, your students already listened to it until the first minute, and you do you hear me now? Yes, okay. And you ask the students, for example, what they've heard, and they are talking to you about this part of the video by using, for example, a teacher, they're going to talk about travel. They talked about holidays, and today they talk about travel and journeys. And if there are new words, for example, you ask students, okay, which words are unfamiliar to you? You don't know, and they ask you, and you give the definition and explanation, and then ask the student to use the word in their own speech. Why it's important? Because if they just know this word, okay, they say, we learned it, but they are not using it, it means they will easily forget about it after this video immediately. So you ask the students, use it in their own speech, and you ask them to make a sentence again. So they make a sentence with the new word they've heard. And I love TurboScribe because it's AI tool. It makes your work easier. It facilitates the learning process, and it also gives you many opportunities to use authentic materials. Why I'm highlighting authentic? Because in our textbooks, unfortunately, we have listenings, but they are mostly based on conversations, and I wouldn't say that they are very authentic, unfortunately. And you can use these materials, make your own materials, and based on your students' interests. Believe in me that they will find it more useful. And our students, me and my husband is an English teacher as well. We are using these methods a lot in our teaching experience, and we see that how effective it is even for an elementary student. The next platform is Boscreen.com. Boscreen.com is one of the most common digital platforms. I think maybe some of you are already familiar with it. So it improves listening and pronunciation through real video clips, movies, or videos, and it helps expand vocabulary, practice grammar at the same, at different levels at the same time. So you not only improve your listening and speaking, but also your grammar practice, because it gives you a chance to choose any grammar you want and any level you want to watch the video. And yeah, of course, I wouldn't say that it has all the grammar topics, no, but the main ones they are. And you can also choose the word count you want to have in the video, your video. Even it's appropriate for kids. There are 3 levels. So this is the voice script. You need to have an account for it. It's free. So let's say I want to practice voice verb with my students. And let's see, 1, 2, 3 words. And after the student listen to it, you have 2 options, subtitle off and subtitle on. So you can choose subtitle off just and watch this clip again without subtitle, or you can choose subtitle on to watch it with subtitle. And then you can let your student to choose the correct translation in a given time. So if they have 10 seconds, they should answer it as soon as possible in 10 seconds. And the subtitle part in my platform, it's in Azerbaijani, but sometimes I do it in English for my high level students. So it's up to the level of student. If you want, you can choose subtitle as a translation, or you can choose it in English to see how their understandings are based on the clips. So any question about Voskrin? Have you ever used it and how it worked? Which challenge did you have? You can also tell about your challenges and ask how to make it better maybe. Shadowing, yes, shadowing method is wonderful. Yes, you can choose levels, word count, a grammar topic. Beginner level, elementary, intermediate, advanced. And you see here the score, total score of students. You can do it as a group activity as well. Yeah, how you can do it as a group activity, you can let students again be group, maybe 2 groups or 3 or 4 groups. And at the end, you can rate their answers and give points to the group, guess the subtitle or the listening well. Mm. Okay. Yes, Bruce, I see. I hope you will have a chance to use it next semester in your online lessons. Good. I am happy to hear it, Kilai, that you find it useful. How often? How often is it appropriate to use? So, to be honest with you, as for example, since my lessons are 3 hours with one group, 3 hours in a row without any pause, I use these platforms in my every lesson because during 3 hours, if you are just doing some textbook materials or reading, just writing, it would be very boring. Students would go to sleep. So I always try to keep them engaged with these platforms. Yes, let's go on. We have like all these platforms, especially the last ones, was screen, TurboScribe, daily dictation, are very beneficial, advantageous, and useful in terms of experiential learning. So what is experiential learning? In experiential learning, the learning process is based on real experiences and practice. And as students are listening to real clips, video clips, movies, etc., they will really experience the experiential learning. And learners apply knowledge through activities and projects, maybe individually or as a group. And this approach helps learners understand concepts more deeply. For example, they've already learned false verb grammar or past simple, but they don't know how it's used in real speaking. And by doing these methods, you can let them hear past simple in the authentic material and see how it's really used in movies, in films. Sometimes my students tell me, "Teacher, we never hear present perfect tense, spoken English." And I tell them, you feel that, like you know that you never hear it, but you hear it. It doesn't mean you never see it. You just don't realize that you hear it because you haven't paid attention to it. And this method let the students pay attention deeply to what they've learned. And then they say, yeah, so we can also hear present perfect, past perfect, or different types of grammar. All right, the next platform is, I think that you really feel me because student psychology is almost the same. We have game-based learning platforms, like my students' favorite platforms, and I think that most students find this very, very interesting, especially Kahoot, Bamboozle, Birdwall, and among them, the one which is not so common, and I will share with you, is Learning Gaps.
Oh my God. Actually, this is my favorite one, learning apps.
Learning Gaps. Yes. Your favorite one and your student's favorite one, right? And especially if you have a smart board in your classroom. I don't know how, like what kind of facilities they are in your classroom, but with smart boards, especially the learning apps, is working very well. And it's really interactive and it makes the students be engaged and having high spirit during the learning. So this is one example from learning apps. Let's see that the students are going to practice present perfect, simple, and progressive tense. They have already learned. And now they just have to categorize the sentences according to these two tense forms. And when there is a smart board and you have it in your smart board, you can let them just come to the board and pick it and put it into the correct place. So, in this case, they are active also physically because they are coming to the board and picking something. But if you have just a projector and a whiteboard, it's also okay. So you can let them choose it maybe in your laptop or you can choose it yourself. You can scan this QR code to go to the website. Learning Gaps was one of the platforms my Hungarian teacher used when I was studying in Hungary and learning the Hungarian language. And I found this app very useful because as we had the you know, smart boards and projectors in all classrooms. It just motivated us and encouraged us to work on it. So you can pick here any grammar topic you want to practice or any subject, pronunciation as well. So somebody asked us to how to maybe practice intonation, or maybe you can practice your alphabet, the sounds. For example, which sound we have in this word. You just pick it, put it here. For example, I'm just doing it randomly. And then you can click on this tick to see how many correct you have. So cold, for example, it must be here. Phone, it must be here. Lot, for example, it's here. And then you check it and all correct. So it's also practical platform. Even we have here some video tasks where they do listening and writing at the same time. Tenses, idioms, vocabulary, some different subjects even like business English. Yes. And Miss Shalala, you said that you are using this platform. Can you share your experience with us? Like how you use it mostly, for what?
Okay, it can be used for different purposes, to check, for example, their vocabulary knowledge or how well they understood the grammar covered. And also, what is good about this website or tool is that you can take just one ready-made lesson and then adapt it and a little bit alter it and make it your own.
Yes, you are right. So you can easily edit it, adapt it after you log in, and you can create your own type of activity. But as you are, I'm also mostly editing them because creating a new one also takes time, but editing a one is time saving. There are different types of puzzle, crossword, guess the word, what's what, matching matrix types of activities are here. So teachers, dear teachers, you can use it however, whatever, for whatever purpose you want. So now I'll go on with another platform, but it's not to improve any skill, it's to promote a quieter classroom because we make these students very engaged and active during the lesson. But sometimes we need some quiet moments. Yes, not we shouldn't always let students be very active. So for quieter classroom, you can use the bouncyballs.com. It's a little bit funny platform and it improves students' self-control and it lets you to attract the students' attention. If you want to say an announcement or you want to discuss something, but students are still, engaged in a different activity, but you are trying to get their attention to another activity, you can use this platform. It gives you some options like making sh sound in your lesson process, and there are different themes you can choose, and sensitivity level can be arranged. So I always make it high because sometimes I need my students to be quiet immediately, but when the sensitivity level is low, it doesn't make the sh sound. So I need it sometimes very fast. So you don't need to have any and you have start bouncing. You see here we have balls, emojis, and if you open the microphone, because if you don't activate the microphone, it will not make any noise. Numbers, bubbles, eyeball. You see how it works. And noise alert also should be active. We have beep as well. So, but I like the one sh as it's natural. Have you ever heard about bouncy balls and used it before? You haven't used it, yes. Good. I think sometimes you'll need it as well because as a teacher, when we are talking, we can get tired to make it shh every time, especially with kids because they are so active and it's something that attracts the students' attention. On the board, they see it, they see something colorful, and they are looking very attentively, like, oh, what's this? Yes, yes, all teachers need it. And
Miss Valida, we have a question here. What is it used for? I think it can be used, for example, during exams or I don't know, like doing tests, maybe to ensure quietness, calmness.
yes, yes, during exams, or as I say, when we are, for example, transferring from one activity to another activity. For example, you are doing a group work and then you say, okay, our group activity is over. Now we start, for example, another activity, but you still see that they are talking, you know? They haven't finished their discussion yet, and you just do it, and you get all of their attention. Then you start a new activity. Yes, Fatima, during quizzes, yes. But then sensitivity should be very high level. Yes. Another platform which I use is Google Classroom which I used at the beginning of our lesson to check how you feel today. You remember it, yes? This is Classroom Screen. I learned this platform in one of the conferences from an American teacher. And after she shared it with me, I found it very useful. Also, I started to use it. And most of the time, I use this platform as a whiteboard in my traditional classrooms because sometimes, it's a bit time wasting to every time write it on the board if the students are learning something new. So I open this as a whiteboard and the students see it in a big screen, like in the projector. And I write here, for example, the words as like the new words they learn. And it's also good because sometimes students are not able to understand maybe our handwriting or they are miscopying something when they are taking notes. But here you can write it and I hope that they will not make mistake when they are taking the notes. But other advantages of this program, of this platform are widget bar. You can pick here anything. For example, group making. You want to make a group in your classroom to start an activity and you write the student's name. For example, Elnura, Leila, Orkan, for example, Javid. And You make 4 groups, for example, with these names. Yes, this one, classroom screen. It's AIDS platform. Don't worry, I will share these platforms with you after the webinar, so you will easily achieve access all also with a handout. Yes, here we have, I stopped. Yes, group making, widgets, then dice. Sometimes we need dice for the games, yes. Everything is in one. So you can use dice function, timer, then we have a visual timer as well. There is drawing something, maybe, you can use it with your kids or elementary level of students as an activity. You can draw something and they try to guess what it is. There are stickers, and also this is good. I love it. Scoreboard. Sometimes we are doing some gamings, right, in our class, and we maybe write it on the whiteboard what is the score of each team, but sometimes we can miss it because on the whiteboard maybe we'll confuse the pluses or minuses, but you can write here and everyone can easily see it and it cannot be changed. So you write, for example, team 1 already got 5, team 2 already is 4, and when you're doing games, you can open it and everyone can see it and not miss anything. There is clock, timer, timetable, work symbols. Sometimes I'm using polls. As I showed you at the beginning of webinar, we did a well-being check, but you can do multiple choice. For example, ask a question at the beginning of lesson and let the students answer it. And then based on their answers, you can have some discussion. Then we have randomizer. So randomizer is used to select a random name, random student for any activity. Classroomscreen.com. I use this classroom screen mostly in my online classes as well as a whiteboard. So it helps, it has many visual tools. The ninth platform is Engnovate. Engnovate is also an AI platform. It's especially good for IELTS practice. So as I am an IELTS teacher at the same time, I'm using this platform a lot, and I will show you how to use it for any other purposes as well, not only for IELTS, but you can use it for pronunciation practice, dictation and shadowing practice. You can watch videos and you can here check the student's writing level, speaking level. As it is an AI tool, it enables you record here something or write here something, and it gives you very detailed feedback. Usually, as a teacher, I don't rely on AI feedback for my IELTS students, as AI mostly misunderstands our prompts, or it tries to give a general viewpoint about its own experience. But in Engnovate, it's more exact, precise, because it's checking your writing and speaking based on the IELTS criteria. And somebody asked me about the intonation practice at the beginning of webinar. We have here many different videos, again, according to levels, different levels of students. So you can both practice shadowing and dictation. It's good for elementary level and A1, A2 level, I would say. After they hear it, they are trying to say it. Now I will say it. First snowfall. Uh-huh. I think as I'm in a Zoom meeting now, it can't catch my voice. Yes, you see the result. But if you do it, just normally without joining any online thing, you will get here how accurate your speech is, how accurate your pronunciation is. You can listen to yourself and or to your students, you can let them listen to themselves. Then you will see here how is the accuracy level. It's 100%, 80%, 70%, 50%. It's good to make the pronunciation also better, intonation better as well. We have here dictation also and shadowing also. So both are provided for the same videos. You can try all. Even there is IELTS shadowing and dictation. If your students' listening skills are low, then apply this. And I think that you will see the effect very soon. And in Engnovate, all the Cambridge materials are already provided, so you don't need to go to YouTube to find the Cambridge tests. All the Cambridge books are in this website. So for example, you want to practice IELTS. So you go to IELTS tests, for example, IELTS, let's say speaking test. And you will see here all Cambridge books. The last one is 20. And you will, for example, you have a chance here to do it part by part. For example, your students want to practice part 1. And you can also do it when you are doing a speaking exam with your students, which we are doing at university. Okay, this is the question, for example. What do you think your best qualities are? Student answers. And, for example, after answering, you can submit the answer, and also you will get a grade.
You are muted. Miss Valida, you are muted. Please unmute yourself. We cannot hear you. I'm sorry, but Miss Valida, we cannot hear you. Can you hear me, Miss Valida? We cannot hear you, Miss Valida. Can you hear me? Yeah, please connect to audio.
Do you hear me now?
Yes, now, yes.
Oh, sorry. Yes, sometimes it happens. Technological problems.
Yeah.
Technical problems, yes. Okay, here in Socrative, you can make a quiz. For example, I made a quiz about Unit 10 for my students, and I will launch it. For example, I want to shuffle questions because I don't want them see questions in the same order. I also shuffle answers, because students can copy from each other. Then the test starts, and how the students can join the test. I invite students. They go to gosocrative.com website and they write a room name, for example, Valida 6659. After they enter it, I see their names here and I see their answers to the questions. After they finish it, I finish the activity and I'll see their responses. How many correct they have, how many mistakes they have. Even I can export the results and email the results to students in the end. So you see here live results, and we don't have a live result for today, but I can show you my previous students' results. For example, Melek and Zahra, my students, they did this test in my last online lesson. They had 20 questions, and the only disadvantage of this website is you can have up to maximum 20 questions. And of course, if you have a premium account, you can make more questions. So then I will show you how to make the question. So you can add quiz. Click on add quiz. Generate questions. It means you can generate it using a prompt or filed upload, or you can copy paste questions. So if you are making tests with AI, ChatGPT, or Gemini, or another AI platform, you can use this copy paste function. After copying your questions, you will add it, and it will make for you the questions on the left side, and then you give name to your quiz, for example, irregular verbs. Then you save it and you exit. So, and you can make here up to 5 quizzes only in the free limit, because it can't let you, unfortunately, to make more. But when I'm doing it, for example, if I don't need already the old quizzes, I delete them and I make the new ones. So that was Socrative.com. Are there any questions? No, not yet. So we are almost coming to the end of this webinar. And I want to see, yes, there are 29 participants, good. The reflection part of the webinar. Now I will share with you a link, and I want you to write the answers to these questions about the webinar. So what was the most useful thing you learned today, and which platform would you like to use in your future lessons, and which activity you find most engaging today? So we'll do our discussion part in Padlet, and I also want you to see how Padlet works, because we talked about it. So we have my Padlet. Yes, I put the questions for you. Okay. So, yes, can you scan this QR code, please? Oh, I can also copy link and send to chat.
Miss Valida, while our participants try to reflect on those questions, I'm a bit impatient, so I would like to share my thoughts orally with your permission. I really liked all those platforms that you shared with us today, and all of them are really useful. Some of them were familiar, some of them, I heard about some of them for the first time. Um, Especially, I liked Socrates, and there were some other platforms. I mean, I have to go through all of them a bit later because the amount of information was, really huge. So
Yes,
thank you again. Thank you again for sharing all of them with us.
it's pleasure for me. Actually, when I was making this presentation and choosing the platforms, I tried to choose the most effective 10. Of course, there are many, many on internet, but I tried to choose the ones which are not so common but useful for teachers and instructors. I'm happy to hear that you really loved and enjoyed and take benefits. Thanks for appreciating.
And I'm sure our teachers will really benefit from using all of them. I mean,
Yes.
you can just start with only one at a time, and then gradually you can start implementing other ones as well.
Yes, yes. So as you already get experience from one, for example, you start to effectively use all others and you learn how to use, it's also demanding practice, practice, practice.
Yeah. And after some time, you will discover that your students actually they have their own preferences in those platforms. So some of them will become your most favorite ones and most useful ones.
Yeah, they are telling, for example, teacher, can we do today, for example, bamboozle? Can we do Kahoot today?
Yeah.
Can we do dictation? And I see how interested they are. They are asking me to do it next lesson again and next lesson again. They love to collaborate and compete at the same time.
And do we
Yeah.
have any thoughts shared so far?
Yes, let's see them. We have two comments, I think, here. Oh, many comments. So all very useful and practical. I mostly like Socrative.com. Oh, thank you. So I liked your webinar. It was great. I will use dailydictation.com. You are very welcome. Luck to you in your lessons and teaching process. All of them are useful in teaching and learning process. Thank you so much. Luck to you, Miss Kinai. I think I'm gonna use all of them, not only to teach English, but also to learn other foreign languages. Exactly. I'm learning German currently. And to be honest with you, I'm using this TurboScribe platform a lot to transcribe German language materials. It helps me a lot. You're welcome. Mentimeter and Padlet, but I haven't used them. I'm gonna use both of them. Perfect. Good luck, Miss Aysel. Thank you for joining, everyone.
Yes, and as we come to the end of this webinar, I would like to sincerely thank Ms. Valida Salamova for sharing all her valuable insights and practical strategies about those digital platforms with all of us. And thank you to all our participants for being interactive, for being really engaged with the material throughout the session, for all your really great comments and questions and thoughtful questions and comments. And also a gentle reminder that the recording will be available. It will be shared in our WhatsApp groups. So we hope that you found this today's webinar really helpful, really useful, and you are going to benefit from it a lot. And thank you once again for joining us today. And we look forward to seeing you all at our future events.
Yes, yes, maybe we'll have some offline events soon. So I would be glad to see you all there in our meetings, and we can do more practical workshops where you are working in group together with teachers. I'm very thankful, Miss Shalala, to have me today as a guest speaker today and to have this opportunity as a step organization for teachers. And I'm again appreciating your efforts also. Thanks so much. And participants, thank you so much for listening to me today.
And
And
see
if you want, you can talk to me also later. So here is my LinkedIn profile. If you have any question and my email, you can ask me anytime.
So see you all. Bye.
Bye bye. Have a nice rest.